What if I told you there's one altcoin right now with a 92.3% bullish sentiment rating that's flying completely under the radar while Bitcoin bleeds dominance? While everyone's distracted by the usual suspects, smart money might be quietly positioning in Kaspa, and the charts are about to tell us exactly where this rocket ship is headed next. I'm talking about a potential 20% move in the next 7 days, but only if this one key level breaks. Stay with me because what I'm about to show you could change how you look at altcoin season forever. But first, smash that like button if you want more under-the-radar crypto gems like this, and let's dive into the data that has me absolutely fascinated right now. Here's what caught my attention this morning, and it should catch yours too. Kaspa just hit the number 2 spot on coinmarketcap's trending coins with that insane 92.3% bullish sentiment rating. Think about that for a second. We're talking about retail confidence levels that put it ahead of household names like Arbitrum, Floki, and Hedera. The only project beating it, XDC Network, that's it. Now here's the thing about Kaspa that makes this even more interesting. This isn't some flash-in-the-pan hype coin that's all over crypto Twitter. This project has been quietly building one of the most loyal communities in the space. No massive influencer campaigns, no celebrity endorsements, just pure organic growth, driven by the technology and the believers who understand what they're holding. And right now, while Bitcoin dominance is starting to crack, we're seeing it slip from those 60% highs. Altcoin narratives are heating up again. The timing here is absolutely critical because we're potentially at the beginning of another alt season cycle, and projects like Kaspa with strong community conviction could be the ones that explode first. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this bullish sentiment backed up by the technicals, or are we looking at a retail FOMO trap waiting to happen? Because I've seen this movie before. Massive retail bullishness right at the top, followed by brutal 40 to 50% corrections that wipe out the late buyers. So let's dig into the charts and see if this optimism has any real foundation, or if we're about to witness another classic crypto rug pull. Alright, let's talk about what the price action is actually telling us, because this is where things get really interesting and potentially concerning. Kaspa is trading around $0.1001 right now, which sounds innocent enough until you realize what just happened. Earlier this week, KAS got absolutely rejected at the 12 cents zone. We're talking about a hard bounce off resistance that sent the price tumbling more than 4% in a matter of hours. Yesterday, I told my subscribers that if Kaspa couldn't break past 12 cents, we'd likely see a pullback to the $0.099 to $0.093 range. Guess what happened? Exactly that. KAS hit resistance, got smacked down, and fell right into our predicted zone. But that's not even the most concerning part. Right now, Kaspa is sitting just under the 9-day simple moving average at $0.1008. For those of you who've been following my technical analysis, you know that when a coin loses its 9-day SMA, it's often the first sign that momentum is shifting from bullish to bearish. So we have this fascinating contradiction happening right now. On one hand, we've got 92% of retail traders screaming buy the dip with unprecedented bullish sentiment. On the other hand, the technicals are flashing some yellow warning lights that seasoned traders can't ignore. Let me put this in perspective for you. Kaspa broke out of a massive sideways consolidation range earlier this month. We're talking about a zone between $0.058 and $0.075 that acted like a coiled spring. When it finally broke, KS exploded more than 70% in just a few weeks, topping out just above 12 cents. That's the kind of move that creates millionaires in this space. But here's what has me on edge. After every explosive rally like this, we see one of two things happen. Either the price consolidates and continues higher, or it retraces back to test that original breakout zone, sometimes giving back 50% or more of the gains. Right now, we're at that critical inflection point. Kaspa is consolidating around the 10-cent psychological level, and the next move could determine whether this is just a healthy pullback before the next leg up, or the beginning of a deeper correction that crushes those bullish retail dreams. The million-dollar question is, which scenario are we heading into? And more importantly, how can you position yourself to profit regardless of which way this goes? Alright, let's cut through the noise and look at what the indicators are actually telling us, because this is where the real alpha is hidden. I've been diving deep into the technical indicators, and here's what's fascinating. Most of them are still leaning bullish despite this recent pullback. The RSI is sitting at 58.45, which tells us momentum is building, but we're nowhere near overbought territory. That's actually bullish because it means there's still room to run higher without triggering massive sell-offs. The MACD just printed a bullish crossover at 0.006, and the trend is still pointing upward. For those who don't know, the MACD is one of the most reliable trend-following indicators in crypto, and when it's bullish, it often stays bullish for weeks or even months. But here's the really interesting part. The ADX is showing a reading of 49.45, which confirms we're in a strong trending environment. Now the ADX doesn't tell us direction, just strength, but combined with the other indicators, it's suggesting that when Kaspa makes its next big move, it's going to be decisive. Now let me share something that most YouTubers won't tell you because they're too busy shilling their bags. The ultimate oscillator is showing 57.003, which indicates moderate bullish pressure across multiple time frames. This isn't screaming buy now territory, but it's also not flashing any red warning signals. Here's my honest assessment based on 8 years of trading crypto. Kaspa is in that sweet spot where the technicals are still supportive, but the price hasn't run away from us yet. This is often where the best risk-reward setups present themselves. So let's talk scenarios, because this is how professional traders think about these setups. Bullish scenario. If bulls can reclaim the 9-day SMA and push above $0.105, I'm looking for a retest of that 12-cent resistance zone. If that breaks, and this is a big if, we could see Kaspa run towards $0.135 or even 15 cents. That's a potential 35 to 50% gain from current levels. Neutral scenario. If KAS continues to consolidate in this $0.095 to $0.105 range, we might see several more weeks of sideways action. This isn't necessarily bearish. Sometimes the best rallies come after extended consolidation periods that shake out weak hands. Bearish scenario. If we lose the $0.095 support level, I'm watching the $0.087 zone closely. Below that, we could see a retest of the original breakout zone around $0.075. Now, before you panic, this would actually be healthy for the long-term trend and could provide an excellent re-entry opportunity. But here's what I'm really watching. That $0.105 level I mentioned earlier. This is the make-or-break zone for the next few days. If we get a clean break above $0.105 with volume, that's my signal that the bulls are back in control, and we could see that push toward 12 cents within the next 7-10 days. On the flip side, if we break below $0.095, I'm not panicking. I'm getting ready to add to positions around $0.087 or $0.075 if we get there. Here's something most people don't realize. We might be in the early stages of the next major altcoin season. The signs are all there. Bitcoin consolidating, Ethereum showing strength, and smaller caps starting to outperform. If that's the case, projects like Kaspa with 92% bullish sentiment could be the ones that lead the charge. But remember, in crypto, sentiment can change fast. Today's darling can become tomorrow's forgotten project if the momentum doesn't sustain. That's why having a clear plan and sticking to your levels is so crucial. Let me get real with you for a minute about risk management, because this is where most crypto traders blow up their accounts. If you're considering a position in Kaspa, and I'm not telling you to buy or sell, just sharing my analysis, you need to have a plan before you enter. Here's how I'm thinking about it. Entry zones. 0.095 to 0.105 range offers decent risk reward. Stop loss, below 0.087 for swing trades. First target, 0.12 resistance retest. Moon target, 0.15 if we get a proper breakout. But here's the most important thing, position sizing. Even with 92% bullish sentiment, even with solid technicals, even with a loyal community, this is still crypto. Things can go to zero faster than you think. Never risk more than you can afford to lose completely. I've been doing this for 8 years and I've seen too many people get wiped out because they got caught up in the hype and forgot about risk management. Don't be that person. The bottom line is this. Kaspa is presenting an interesting setup right now. The sentiment is there, the community is strong, and the technicals aren't screaming danger yet. But we're at a critical juncture where the next few days could determine the direction for weeks to come. That 0.105 level I mentioned, that's your line in the sand. Above it, and we might see that bullish scenario play out. below 0.095, and patience might be rewarded with better entry opportunities. Look, I know this was a lot of information, but this is exactly the kind of analysis that separates profitable traders from the crowd that buys tops and sells bottoms. If this breakdown helped you understand Kaspa better, smash that like button, and let me know in the comments what other coins you want me to analyze next. Are you bullish or bearish on KAS right now? Drop your price predictions below. I read every single comment. And if you want to stay ahead of the next big moves in crypto, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. I'm constantly scanning the markets for setups like this, and my subscribers always get the analysis first. Remember, we're potentially at the beginning of the next altcoin season, and being prepared with the right information could be the difference between catching the wave and watching it pass you by. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and should not be considered financial advice. Cryptocurrency investments are highly volatile and risky. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Always do your own research and consult with a qualified financial advisor before making any investment decisions. The creator of this content may hold positions in the cryptocurrencies discussed. Never invest more than you can afford to lose completely.